Hey, what's going on, everybody? Welcome to the second ever episode of the Sports Gasm podcast. We're your hosts, Isaac,
Kylie.
and let's get right into a crazy week. And we have to start, of course, with Super Wild Card Weekend. There's
Yes,
lots to discuss
sir.
that came out of this crazy weekend. Most of the games were kind of letdowns, but even in the letdowns, there was a little bit of magic that we can take a look at. Also, plenty of off-season stuff. But let's start with the games. And Kylie, we got to start with the first wild card game. The Bengals, for the first time since the Soviet Union was a thing, have won a playoff game.
Woo! All right, so they won 26-19. A little bit of controversy. Burrow played really well. They did end a 31-year playoff drought. That drought now belongs to the Detroit Lions, so good job, Lions.
Sad.
Yeah. Shout out Derek Carr for pushing this team so far, given everything that's happened to them with Henry Ruggs, their coach, and Arnett, I believe his name is. So the
Yeah, Damon
Raiders,
Arnett.
yeah, the Raiders definitely don't. This is a great season for you guys. It was Derek Carr's first playoff game, so honestly, great. Let's talk about that controversy though when Joe Burrow was about to throw out of bounds in mid the ball was in midair and they hit the whistle. I mean, what's up with
There,
that?
there were some there. This whole game. So this whole game was kind of just the quintessential ref ball game, in that it felt
Yeah,
like the refs were, you know, it felt like the refs were really on one team's side and the others.
completely.
And all props to the Raiders. They played a great game, but it really felt like they were getting a lot of breaks and that the refs were trying to make this one way more competitive than it should have been. And I'm the kind of person who usually doesn't, when people start screaming ref ball, I'm the kind of person who's like, let's sit back and take a breath.
Hmm.
Maybe there's some logic to it, but some of the calls in this game were just like
Insane.
atrocious. It
And
was it's a shame because it was a great game.
yeah. And one thing to let you guys know, if you don't know already, the officials of this game are not officiating for any more playoff games this season. So, what does that tell you about the officials themselves and that game? I mean,
I mean, it tells me that the NFL is taking it seriously. The NFL has
yes,
like been like, look, we have been under fire from the fans for years for poor officiating, and after what happened in last year's Super Bowl, which let's be fair, there were some pretty atrocious calls in that game.
yes,
I think we can all agree that the NFL is trying to minimize controversy. So yeah, that officiating crew they're done. That's a good move by the NFL, I think.
absolutely. I mean, yeah, it was just bad all game. It wasn't
Yeah,
just that one.
and it's a real shame too, because out of all the playoff games this weekend, this was my favorite to watch.
Yeah,
You know, because
absolutely.
this was the one playoff game, and my team played this weekend. Even though my team was playing this weekend, this was the game that I was the most excited for, and this is the game
Yes.
that I feel like was the best to watch. And it's a shame that looking back on it, it's like, it's another game where the refs had to step in. But about before we move to the next playoff game, quick note about the Raiders. Kylie, do they run it back with Rich Bisaccia as head coach, or are they going to look for someone new?
I've been thinking about that since this game, and we'll discuss the questions later. But I definitely think they should run it back with Basakia. The team has rallied around him, and they love him. And one thing that really stuck with me is he was asked about that play that we just talked about with the whistle mid with the ball in midair. He was asked about that, and he was like, "It's already done with. We got to move on."
Yeah,
And you don't see many players, coaches, especially fans, saying stuff like that.
yeah, what's
And
done is done. Yeah,
yeah, and I think as a head coach, you're supposed to act like that. You're supposed to think like we shouldn't have to get to the point where we have to have excuse of the refs. We got to move past it. We got to push on. I respect that a lot, and I definitely think they should run it back.
I think that he did a great job filling in for John Madden. Did
Yes,
I say John Madden? I meant
yeah,
John
John
Gruden.
Gruden.
My apologies. John, and rest in peace, John Madden.
Yes, the
Um,
goat.
yeah, he did a great job filling in for John Gruden.
Hmm.
Arguably, he made the team better than Gruden had made them.
I think
Um,
so too.
And a lot of that, I think, is that Gruden's coaching philosophy was kind of rooted in the old style that he had when he was back coaching in the 2000s. That style of football doesn't work nowadays.
Not anymore.
Yeah, occasionally you can maybe pull off a win, but Basaki understands that, this is a more fast-paced game, and he had the Raiders playing up to their potential. So I think they should run it back. On
Yeah.
the same day that the Bengals win their first playoff game in 30 years, the Buffalo Bills took their frustrations of the past 20 years and unleashed it in a tidal wave of rage against the New England Patriots. Kylee, 47-17, the worst loss of Bill Belichick's career.
Yep.
What happened to the Patriots?
So going off what you said about the 20-year frustration with the Tom Brady era, they definitely took it out. They did some excessive throwing, and I just absolutely loved it
Oh, it's
because
great.
As a football fan, it's great to see stuff like that. You just clear cut, just taking your frustrations out of the past 20 years. It was great to see unnecessarily throwing just to keep scoring. Allen looked great. I didn't really see Diggs as much, if I remember correctly, in this game.
He did he? I don't
know.
know.
I don't really think I saw him that much.
See, when this game got to like 30-0 at halftime, I was checked out. I was like,
yeah,
well,
it was done.
Yeah. So I don't think Diggs had a big role, as big a role, but
one thing I did see was a big man TD.
That is great. Shout out big man TD. Was it Jack Doyle?
Yes, it was. It
was Jack Doyle. Yeah.
Love those big man TDs.
From one big man to another, from one husky guy to another. Good job, bro. Good job.
Love it.
And something about the Bills I should note is that this was the very first perfect game in NFL history. In baseball, the perfect game, it happens rarely. We've never had a perfect game in football where a team scores touchdowns on all of their drives, no turnovers, no punts, until Saturday night when the Bills did it. And I mean, now this brings up the question, who's at fault for the Patriots playing so poorly? Was it the fact that they're starting a rookie quarterback? Was it Belichick not being prepared? I mean, this was the third time in the last 41 days that the Bills and Pats have played each other, so he's had plenty of time. So what do you think, Kylee? What's the culprit here for the Patriots playing?
I genuinely think it was a mix of all three. Because I mean, Belichick, as you said, this is his worst loss in his career. And I have to think it's part of. I don't want to think it's being part of unprepared, because you've been the head coach of the Patriots for 2 decades, most of our lives. But you have to think it's part of that. And a rookie quarterback definitely has some play in it. And this roster is just not as good as the Patriots, as the Bills. The Bills are just too good. They came to play. They were prepared. I mean, one thing to note is Josh Allen had more touchdowns than incompletions. He had 5 touchdowns, 4 incompletions. I mean,
I think the last time that happened was when Big Ben did it against the Panthers in 2018. That's the only time I can remember that. Yeah. And I can only pull that stat up because I was rewatching highlights of that Steelers team this morning at the gym. That is the only way I know. But yeah, insane.
Yeah, absolutely insane. It was great to watch because I love Josh Allen, and I want to see Stephon Diggs succeed, because people were like kind of doubting him going into Buffalo, and it's just nice to see him succeed and kind of see Justin Jefferson in Minnesota kind of work out like that. So it's nice to see that.
Very nice.
Yeah.
I say, as somebody who's, we have a mutual friend who I was talking about how satisfying it was to see the Patriots lose like this. And he's like, well, Isaac, your team is technically the new Patriots now. And I'm like, I know. This Patriots team clearly is not the same Patriots that have, ruled the NFL for 20 years.
Right.
But that's not the point. The point is the franchise, the owner, the coach, the smugness of that fan base.
Exactly.
Seeing them being the ones clutching their pearls and going, oh no, we might suck. It just is so cathartic. And it was
great, because
it is a healing moment.
Yeah. The entire season they're like, Pats are back. Pats are back.
Yeah.
You had fun for 1 year. Pats are back. Guys kind of got your asses beat a little bit.
Yeah. No, not a little bit, a
A
lot.
lot.
And the craziest thing is, I would argue that wasn't even the most impressive ass beating of the weekend. I'd argue that the most impressive ass beating is what happened to the next day, Sunday at 1 p.m. when my Buccaneers proved once again that the 7th seed is a bad idea for the playoffs because,
Yes,
oh my goodness. Now the final score makes it look better than it was, but the
definitely.
Bucks killed Philadelphia 31
Hmm.
to 15. Eagles only got 2 garbage time touchdowns, and there's a lot from this game we can talk about.
So much.
I think I should probably point out that Tom Brady has more playoff wins to start this weekend than any other quarterback of what playing in Wild Card Weekend combined. 34 playoff wins compared to just 26 for the rest, which was insane. And now he can add a 35th to that
Yeah.
very impressive resume.
Yeah, I mean, we all know Tom Brady. He's Tom.
Yeah,
One thing that was interesting, well, a couple things obviously, but from the Eagles side, no Devontae Smith really. That was weird.
I noticed that they really didn't throw to him,
Yeah.
and that is concerning in a lot of
Yes.
they really didn't throw the ball that much to begin with. They just kind of tried to run the ball, but you can't do that against Tampa's run defense.
Yeah,
Like,
exactly. But I mean, you have Hurts at quarterback, and we all know he's not to not to actually like be a hater on Hurts, but he's a running quarterback, and
yeah,
and this kind of proved why running quarterbacks don't really work in the league. I mean, I know it's his first playoff game and it's basically his first full season as starter and everything. So
yeah,
there's also that to play in effect, obviously. But this just proves why you need to be able to throw the ball as well.
yeah.
Because he kept overthrowing everything at every different, it wasn't just, throwing deep that he missed. It was throwing deep, it was throwing mid, it was throwing like he could
He
only do
had
checkdowns.
he had so many bad overthrows in that game. There were
He
so many
did.
times where he had guys wide open because Tampa. Okay, as a Tampa fan, I'll be honest. We have not played our best ball this year. Our record is
Right.
kind of deceiving. We have been racked with injuries to both our offense and especially our defensive backfield. And the fact that, you know, you have receivers getting wide open on our backups
Yes.
and Hurts is still overthrowing them is like, damn. And at no point, it just scared me. At no point did they say, okay, this isn't working. Minshew, get in there.
Yeah,
That,
that was weird to me because Gardner Minshew has been proven to throw, but that was against the Jets.
yeah.
But another thing I saw was funny. I saw it on a TikTok earlier. Was Hurts obviously overthrowing it and Tom Brady catching it.
Oh, yeah.
So
Tom,
he made a Philly special kind of joke. It was funny.
I don't know why, but like, ever since Tom Brady joined the Bucks, and it may just because it's my team, but ever since he joined the Bucks, I've kind of started to look back on his career and be like, huh, I think I really like Tom Brady.
Yeah, no, definitely.
This,
He's
I
when
mean,
you're in Buffalo. I mean, you're a professional. You're holding this. You have to act a certain way. But
New
he's
England, you mean, right?
yeah. That's
Yeah,
what I
you
said.
said Buffalo.
Oh, oops. Yeah,
It's okay.
sorry. He
Technically,
owns Buffalo too.
The Bills are the new Patriots.
Yeah,
Technically, after
owns
Saturday.
yeah, and he owns Buffalo, so it's fine.
Yeah,
Sorry, Bills fans, love you guys. But anyway, so yeah, I meant in New England, he had to act a certain way, and now that he's in Florida, in Tampa, he's been acting a lot different. He's been acting like relaxed, kind of seeing more of his
yeah.
personality
He's
instead of
done
this.
everything he can do or a
Exactly,
quarterback can do. He doesn't have to prove himself anymore. He's just out there having fun. And
exactly. It
it's great to
shows,
watch.
and
Yeah.
I'm actually enjoying it. I don't mind Tom Brady anymore.
Yeah. Now here's some things
As
I
much.
didn't like about this game. And I liked this game a lot. What I didn't like was the fact that 2 key pieces of our offensive line got hurt, Tristan Wirfs and Ryan Jensen. I think Jensen's good to go, but Wirfs, I mean, he got hurt badly
Yeah.
and then he got sent back out. And he was basically just, a one-legged blocker at that point, and that's not
Mm-hmm.
going to work. And I think somebody had said that putting Wirfs in makes you think about what Antonio Brown was saying about Bruce Arians.
Yeah, I saw that on
You said
Twitter.
you kind of agree to that, right?
Hmm. It was kind of a cause for concern because I mean, yeah, you got to push through things for the playoffs and stuff like that. But when it's something, I don't know, it looks serious, and I thought about it and I was like, that kind of makes a little sense. But you can never really know. But this was the biggest age gap of a QB matchup in ever at 21 years. The 21-year difference between Hurts and Brady.
21 years. That's just, I mean, what else? The longevity of Tom Brady's career is
incredible.
And it's that record is probably going to, it's probably going to get broken again. With
by
more
him.
young quarterbacks. Yeah, by him. A couple more tidbits from this game. Did you know that 105 of Gronk's 107 touchdown catches have come from Tom Brady?
That was crazy.
And here's a quick note. I may be the history guy, but I have failed. I have been looking for the past hour, and I cannot find who the other touchdown passes, who threw those other 2 touchdown passes to Gronk. I looked back. I thought it would have been either Garoppolo or Brissett from that 2016 year.
It could be Edelman.
It could be Edelman. I'll have to look that up, but it's just
yeah.
Gronk Brady will go down in history as one of the greatest quarterback receiving duos of all time, even though Gronk is technically a tight end.
Yeah, I mean, you got to think about Young and Rice. And
Montana and Rice,
Manning and Harrison. Yeah, so you got to think about those 2. But I know what you mean. It's definitely a crazy duo. This decade's equivalent.
Yeah. Let's see what else we got from this game. Ryan Kerrigan sighting.
That was great.
I did not know he was on the Eagles. I honestly
really.
I thought he was still on the Redskins.
No, not even. He signed in the offseason, and I was like, this freaking team, because I was so mad at them for getting rid of, but they were getting rid of runs. But when they signed him, I was like, oh my god! And he hasn't done anything this season.
No, I didn't even know he was playing. But then he shows up in this game, and I think he got a sack or 2. He
got at least 1 sack. He was there. He made his presence known, and it was like, so now you decide to do something like
he played really well. Unfortunately, he had to be on the
losing team.
One last thing from this game: will Jalen Reagor still be an Eagle next year?
I have no idea, dude. I mean, he might be used in a trade piece to maybe get a 7th round pick or something. If he's not even worth anything. Maybe get a pick, but he doesn't even have special team value anymore. That's why he was on the team. He has no special team value anymore because he muffed one. Was a punt return, and he muffed it, and the Bucs got it back, and they scored. So that's 6 points plus an extra point, and he muffed one, but he got it back, but he still muffed another one. I mean,
I'll give. Yeah, it's if I'm the Eagles, if I'm Howie Roseman, I'm admitting, okay, we screwed up with this one, and I'm getting him out of there because
he makes the Jefferson pick look even harder to look at as an Eagles fan. I mean, it's insane, and there are so I can't stand it. I can't stand it.
We can talk about more of this in the off season, which
Definitely.
we're going to get to. But we got 3 more playoff games to get through. Now this one, I know we all want to talk about this one a lot.
Crazy one.
But we got to keep it. There's a lot more we have to discuss, so let's try and keep this one a little brief. But at the same time, we'll give you guys our full thoughts.
Yes.
I'm glad that they put this game on Nickelodeon because they couldn't get it to go. I'm also concerned that many kids are extremely confused and are wondering, wow, football is complicated because Niners Cowboys game of the weekend was ridiculous. And I think we have to start with the obvious fact. This was the first time that both of these teams have made the playoffs at the same time since 1998.
Yep.
It's also now the 11th straight season where the Dallas Cowboys have made the playoffs, but have not made an appearance in a conference championship game. That is the all-time NFL record. The last time that they were in the NFC Championship game, 1995, when they beat Brett Favre's Packers to go on to win their 3rd Super Bowl of the decade. They have not been back since. The closest they have got, divisional appearance in 96, divisional appearance in 2007, divisional appearances in 2009, 2014, 2016, and 2018. Every other year that they made the playoffs, it's been a wild card loss.
And another thing to back that up, you're just turned 24. I'm turning 24 this year in July. The Cowboys have had 3 playoff wins since we've been born. 3.
1, 2, 3, Yeah, you're right. 3. They
3.
that game they beat the Eagles in 2009. They beat the Lions in
Mm-hmm.
2014 on a no call. They beat the Seahawks in 2018. That's America's team, my shiny metal ass.
But
Yeah.
the craziest part of this game, which is what everybody's been talking about, is both the decision to have Dak Prescott run up the middle with what, 18 seconds left?
14 seconds.
14 seconds, even worse, 14 seconds left. And so the rule is the referee has to touch the ball before you can play. That is an actual rule. There is no, ref screwing over the Cowboys or anything like that.
And I'll be the first to admit, I did not know that was a rule.
I didn't
but
either.
It's one of those things where like it's so like it
Uncommon
happens
to cause a
yeah, but it's so like common that
Mhm.
the ref always touches the ball before a snap. You never anticipate it's going to be, have an impact on the game. This is and that's where I bring back to the whole Nickelodeon thing. It's like I haven't seen the Nickelodeon broadcast, but I really want to know how they how they explained that to the
it.
kids.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I know. I don't know how they did it either.
That whole sequence was just hilarious. Like
Yeah.
the ref kind of like bodying the Cowboys players out of the way, and I mean, Dallas this season has been involved in games with like people have been. Dallas has been at the forefront of ref ball this season.
Yes, absolutely.
Some of their games, including their Thanksgiving, especially you look at their Thanksgiving Day game against the Raiders, which I personally thought was the best game of the season, but a lot of people, especially on Twitter, thought otherwise and said, "Oh no, ref ball ruined this game." It's not ref ball ruining these games, guys. The Cowboys are undisciplined.
Yes.
You just watch them play, and they're making so many mistakes and committing so many penalties that it's basic stuff that guys who've been playing football for as long as many of the players in the Cowboys have been playing, they should know not to do this, but they
weren't
can't.
they the most penalized team in the NFL this year?
I think they were, and that usually is something that is awarded to the Raiders because the Raiders have a whole thing, like we're the Raiders, we got to be violent. We're the Raiders, but no, the Cowboys just this season, Dallas is. Every single game you'd watch the Cowboys, it would just be a flag bonanza. I remember watching week 2. They're playing the Chargers. Every single play down, there's a flag, and people are crying, "Oh, ref ball's Rooney." It's like, no, it's not even ref ball. The Cowboys are undisciplined.
Doing it themselves. They're doing it themselves.
You knew it was going to bite them in the butt.
Yeah,
and it did.
I just think this might have done McCarthy's job. Like he might be done. I don't remember what the reports are saying, but I heard that the last I heard was they were that if they have a disappointing end of the season, which Cowboys they will, they did, that McCarthy might be fired to keep their defensive coordinator from leaving.
Crazy.
So we'll keep an eye out for that in the offseason too.
Yeah. Some more tidbits about this game. Nick Bosa concussion?
Yeah, I was like, that's concerning, definitely.
Yeah.
And my favorite thing ever is when the football hits their big ass jumbotron thing.
When did that happen? Because I missed the first half of this game. A snowstorm. For those who don't know, we live on the East Coast, and a snowstorm hit where we were, where we are, and I had to drive home in like on roads that had not been plowed. So the first half I was on the road just, thinking like, don't die. So when did that happen? I did not see that.
I don't remember. It was I think it was in the first quarter, might have been the second. I think it was on a kickoff.
That explains why I didn't see it.
Yeah. But it was really funny, and I love when that happens. That just makes me happy. So the next game, these are all just crazy games this week. The next one was the Chiefs obliterating the Steelers 42-21.
Oof.
I love that.
That game got out of hand real quick.
It really did. It was a completely different game until the Chiefs just kind of, like, in the beginning it was like, okay, maybe the Steelers have a touchdown, maybe, it's going to be a close game. Nope.
Well, I mean, the first quarter is just a defensive struggle, and
yeah, exactly.
My family being mostly Chiefs fans, we're all thinking like, oh boy, we got cocky and thought the Steelers would be easy, And then, holy TJ Watt scores first. It's like, oh, this game we're in trouble. But nope, not at all.
TJ Watt is crazy.
Yeah, defensive player of the year easily.
Yeah, not Diggs.
Yeah, no. Oh god, no.
No.
Mahomes is just too good. The Chiefs have. I know at the beginning of the season, everyone was like, the Chiefs have been figured out.
Yeah.
This has been said before, but just to reiterate it, we all thought the Chiefs had been figured out. When they lost to the Titans 27-3, we thought, oh, it's the end of it. There's no way. They're done. Mahomes is washed,
Maybe
Well,
I was thinking because usually when a big name player gets a huge contract extension or whatever, especially a quarterback, we all know the story. It never pans out because of the big contract and everything like that. That's what I thought was going to happen, but shit, I was wrong.
we were all wrong. We were so wrong.
Sorry, Chiefs.
That's not a bad thing necessarily. But,
you got to be able to push through adversity, and the Chiefs have been doing that. So
they have. Now, a couple of things to note about this game. One in particular is that this most likely would have been the game the Colts would have been playing if they had made it.
Yeah.
It's got you thinking, what if, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I've been watching the Colts all season because of Wentz, and wanting Wentz to succeed, really rooting for the Colts, and losing to Jacksonville, losing to the Raiders, getting murdered by Jacksonville. It really makes me think, what if, because this would have been the game, probably, I believe so. And it's just, it sucks. I really wanted, because it would have been at least closer. Like, the Chiefs probably still would have won, but we would have been a closer score. We would have.
Yeah. Well, maybe. I will say this. Last thought on this game, because we got basically covered it all. Is that Ben? Congrats on retirement.
Yes.
I'm glad that he got to toss at least. I'm glad he got to toss at least 2 touchdown passes in his final game.
Yeah.
And we talked last week on the first episode, like, what would Big Ben's legacy be? And I think we can all agree that ignoring off the field stuff, which you shouldn't, but if you just look at the stuff that happened on the field, he will go down as probably one of the best quarterbacks of our generation.
Absolutely.
And his off the field stuff is a completely different story, and really, deserves more attention, I think. But at the same time, I'm like, I say this with a bit of cringe in my voice. As much as I hate having to say this, I have to say it. Thank you, Ben, for making my my childhood and early 20s so exciting to watch the Steelers each week.
Congrats on a great career, Ben.
Congrats on a good career.
Great season. My last thing about this game: why would you go man coverage against Tyreek Hill in an open field? With that secondary,
the football gods instructed them to, so we get at least one insane Tyreek Hill touchdown game.
I mean, like, what? Like, man coverage, one of the, I'm pretty sure he's still the fastest wide receiver in the league, if not one of the. It's just stupid, man. Like, come on, you got to do zone. Come on.
All right, one final game. This one, a little different on a Monday night. We didn't really, know what to expect. I thought it was going to be a shootout. It wasn't, but holy Toledo, the Cardinals absolutely got bodied by the Rams. This, I think, was the biggest beatdown of Wild Card Weekend. Cardinals were held to -9 yards in the first half. It was brutal. Rams built up a 28-0 lead before allowing the Cardinals to score. Not much to say here, except what in the Carson Wentz was that pick six?
Hey.
To quote Booger. Booger McFarland.
I've heard that since the game, and I'm just like, come on, man, why? You're not wrong, but why? God darn it. The biggest, that was, and I was like, what, the shortest pick six, I believe?
I believe it was. Well, there have been, that's a tie. It has to tie the shortest, because there have been pick sixes in the. I remember
Brady against the Titans last year, 2 years ago.
Well, that's not
years
even
ago.
the inside. There was a the very first game of the Bucks 2002 season when they went on to win their first Super Bowl. They were in overtime against the Saints, and they tried a trick play in the end zone with the punter Tom Tupa, but he threw the ball and right into the hands of a Saints lineman in the end zone
Oh my
for
god.
a game-winning score. So I wouldn't. I think it ties the record for the shortest pick six in NFL history.
Something
But
like that, yeah.
that
But
that's the example I remember. Because I know like there have been pick sixes that short before.
yeah. Um, Another thing about this game is Eric Weddle coming out of retirement to play for the Rams at 37 years old.
That was weird, and I don't think he really did much. I think he just kind of came in on third downs
Yeah, I think he
to
just like kind
provide
of
extra
existed.
coverage deep, and that was odd. I mean, I'm glad I saw Eric Weddle again at least once. But that was an odd choice.
Yeah, it was weird.
I don't think it really had any effect because the Rams still completely bodied the Cardinals. I want to point this out. They were talking about this on ESPN the day after the game. Cliff Kingsbury, ever since becoming head coach at Texas Tech and moving up to the Cardinals, he always starts his seasons off incredible, but
Mm-hmm.
in the back half of the season, his teams turn into a pumpkin. Just look at the Cardinals. 7 straight wins to start the season. Everyone's thinking, oh, maybe this long, terrible curse on our franchise is finally gone. And, well, yeah, they lost 5 of their last 7, 8 games. Go on to lose in the first round. Yeah, it's it's just another notch in the legacy of failure that is the Cardinals
Yeah.
post since the 1940s.
Mm-hmm.
They have not won a championship since World War II, and I don't know if they'll win one in our lifetime. Honestly, at this point, that franchise is snake bitten.
I know. Another thing is when OBJ threw that ball. I love when he plays quarterback for 2 seconds. It's fun to watch, and I'm pretty sure he's a lefty, so it's
And it reminds us that the Rams. Oh yeah, the Rams do have one of the most innovative head coaches. We
yeah.
should probably expect OBJ to do something like that.
And OBJ actually, when after he threw that ball, he had more passing yards than Kyler Murray.
That is insane. And that what
I know.
what
I don't know. It was a stat. He had 40 yards and Kyler had like 9 or something like that.
Oh,
Yeah. But the biggest story of this game is obviously Buda Baker.
ooh, yeah.
Getting absolutely nailed by Cam Akers. And there's a little bit of controversy with that, a little bit when
But you were acting like it was a lot of controversy earlier. I will point
well
out.
no because I was because um in the video you can kind of see him say, is he hurt bad, before he says fuck him.
Yeah.
So
Uh,
I think that's what I heard. I don't know. I'm not gonna,
I wouldn't be surprised if he did because it is a division rivalry. These two teams really don't like each other this season.
right.
Because they've been duking it out back and forth for the division title all season. Um, yeah, I mean, if you're a player in that position, so this comes from somebody who I last played football when I was in middle school, and when I played fullback. That is a position where when you hit a defender and you knock them out, when you knock a defender out, that is a rush of adrenaline that you know it's like the excuse me, it's like the spirit of Larry Zonka fills your body, and it's like, yeah, I'm gonna get unnecessary roughness as an offensive player. Let's go. But yeah, I think Cam Akers was filled with a lot of adrenaline. I'm sure he regrets it now. He's thinking like, oh, I'm probably shouldn't
Yeah.
have said that. But I
Probably,
don't blame him for being so hyped up in the moment. It's like, did I hurt him? Good. Fuck him. Arr, arr, arr. Oh, wait, he actually might be seriously hurt. Oh,
yeah.
oops.
And I mean, whether he said, is he hurt bad, that's remains to be unknown. Um, so, you know, it happens, heat of the moment, not knowing how serious it is, stuff like that. It happens,
That's
you know.
football. I
Yeah.
mean, I'm
And
glad I'm glad Buddha's okay, but
yeah,
that's football.
absolutely. I'm really glad Buddha's okay. He's in Arizona again. He was released from the hospital. He's doing fine. That's thank God. As a Philly fan, you are known for being an aggressive fan. I'm known for, we're known for that.
Yeah.
And I completely understand in the heat of the moment. So I
Yeah.
don't know what he said, if he said, that, but heat of the moment, he did apologize. We'll leave it at that.
Yep. So before we move on to our divisional round previews and picks, let's do some quick news going around the league. We'll try to do this rapid fire because there's a lot to get to, and we also want to talk
Yes.
about all of the interview requests for all the vacant positions. So rapid fire news, let's go, Kylie. We start with Gino Smith arrested for a DUI. Said on Twitter, for fans to bear with him and not judge like we would a friend or family member. Really,
Yeah, he said
Gino?
that on Twitter.
No, right? No, I know
Yeah,
that. I mean, really, like, really?
yeah,
Geno Smith did something bad?
I know. It's kind of weird.
That doesn't seems out of character.
Get
Joe
an
Judge was
Uber.
fired.
Joe
Joe
Judge was
Judge was
fired.
fired.
Finally.
Finally. And the betting favorite to get the Giants head coaching job is an old friend of yours, Kylie.
Dougie P.
Uh,
Not a fan of that. It's gonna be weird. Just imagining like, what if the Giants also had Devontae Smith? Like, what if they drafted him? So it'd be like Doug Peterson coaching. It was weird. I don't like it. It's weird. I hope he's
yeah,
not for. I don't like it. I want him. Nope.
yeah,
Different. Find a different place, please.
that is weird. I will say I'm glad to see Joe Judge got the axe because oh my goodness. Also another firing that was reserved for after Black Monday. The Texans have fired head coach David Coley, which is now owed $17 million over the next 3 years and will end up making $22 million for coaching just 1 year. I don't know if they can really blame Coley for their problems this season, but
Absolutely not. I would want
no,
to. I would want to wait to see what Deshaun Watson and if he stays or not. But
yeah.
maybe they'll hire Brian Flores.
To be completely honest, though, I did not think I forgot that the Texans had a head coach this season. I forgot the
Right?
Texans were playing this season. We already have our first big free agent rumors of the offseason, and it concerns the king of Seattle. Russell Wilson wants to explore his options in the offseason. Teams that have the ability to trade for him that need a quarterback or want to upgrade due to a skill of the team. Of course, number one there would be the Eagles due to their draft picks, the fact that they have Hurts, Gardner Minshew. Then in no particular order, we also have the Giants, Dolphins, Broncos, Colts, Browns, Vikings, Steelers, and Falcons. Will any of these teams make a push to get Russell Wilson?
I could definitely see. Well, the Eagles have said they want Hurts to be QB1 to start the season, but if they really want to, if they have the opportunity to get Russell Wilson, they have the most stuff to do it. Minshew has a lot of trade value right now for the way he played against the Jets. Hurts has some trade value if they want to get rid of him and just have Minshew as the backup. And they have 3 first-round draft picks, so they have the most to be able to do that. I don't think they're going to. The team I can see them most doing that out of these is the Broncos, or the Falcons. The Falcons have Matt Ryan to trade if they want to. I don't know how much the Broncos have, but that was just terms of like quarterback, how good their quarterback is. They could upgrade. The Colts, if they decide to stupidly move on from Carson Wentz, they have the means to do
Wouldn't
that.
surprise me.
Exactly. Wouldn't surprise me either. The Steelers, they have a vacancy at quarterback right now. They're rumored to they want Mason Rudolph to start the season. Weird. So we'll see what happens with that. But the Falcons and the Broncos are probably the most likely. But don't be surprised if the Giants or even the Browns, who might move on from Baker stupidly, if they do that.
I think the Giants are the most likely candidate.
Yeah, me too.
In my opinion, I don't think the Broncos would make a move on him because, to be completely fair, he's not the. Oh, something just almost fell off my wall. I don't think that. I don't think the Broncos would make a move on him just because I don't think that he's really the type of quarterback John Elway likes. Elway likes tall quarterbacks, and Russell Wilson's kind of short. I'm not even saying that to be funny. That's actually a thing. Like John Elway likes his quarterbacks to be freakishly tall. And I think the Falcons, are committed to seeing Matt Ryan's career end. So
yeah, but just imagine Russell Wilson and the Broncos, dude. How good that team.
We said that about Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos, though, and look what happened.
I didn't say that about Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos.
People said that about Teddy Bridgewater and the Broncos.
Weird. A good quarterback. Like, come on, Russell Wilson. Come on.
A couple more news things to go over before we get into interview requests. The Kelsey brothers' mom, Donna Kelsey, managed to make it to both Jason and Travis's playoff games. Just another reason why we have to say we love moms in this on this podcast.
And the Kelsey family, love them,
Yes,
my
they're
guys.
great. Yes. Kylie, you want to know which quarterbacks have had more playoff victories in the last 25 years than the Dallas Cowboys?
Please inform me.
All right, we got Trent Dilfer, who might be the worst quarterback to ever win a Super Bowl. He had won 5 playoff games. A lot of those with the Bucks. People forget he was with the Bucks for a while. I don't forget,
I did not
though.
know that.
I have never forgotten him with the Bucks. Jake Delhomme, one of my all-time favorite underrated quarterbacks of the 2000s. He was with the Panthers. He has 5. The Sanchez has more wins than the Cowboys in the playoffs.
Sanchez, Mark Sanchez.
Yep, Brad Johnson, the journeyman who guided the Bucks to their first Super Bowl, or to be more honest, was the recipient of the Bucks defense winning the Super Bowl for them. And Colin Kaepernick, who is doing his own thing, now. Yeah,
This has been in the
all
league
of
since
them.
2018.
2016.
2016, my bad.
Yeah, they all have more playoff wins than the Cowboys.
That's insane.
That's
It's funny. I
fascinating.
love that.
I love that too. The Cowboys are. I love it when the Cowboys lose, America wins.
So
Well,
much for America's team.
Time to move on to interview requests. Kylie,
There's so
let's
many.
get this going.
So this is just the requests. Some of them have been done. So we have, for the Bears head coach, we have Leslie Frazier, the Bills defensive coordinator, Doug Peterson, Brian Dable, Nathaniel Hackett, Todd Bowles, Byron Leftwich, Matt Eberflus, please take him, Brian Flores, Dan Quinn, and Jim Caldwell. Brian Flores, please go to Chicago.
I would like to see
be
Flores
great
there.
Be great.
I would too.
That defensive team, yeah, by all means.
Yeah.
Bears general manager positions, they have Morocco Brown, Kwesi Adolfo Menza, Glenn Cook, Rex Hogan, Rick Smith, Jeff Ireland, Ed Dobbs, Joe Schoen, I don't know how to say that last name, Omar Khan, Elliot Wolf, Monty Awesomeforth, Reggie McKenzie, Champ Kelly, Rand Carthen, and JoJo Wooden for GM.
I don't know who I would like to see as their GM, but
yeah, I don't know.
Knowing the Bears, they'll probably do the usual Bear thing and hire from within and promote Champ Kelly.
Right.
But
for Broncos head coach, we have Jared Mayo, Dan Quinn, Kellen Moore, Nathaniel Hackett, Eric Bieniemy, always. Jonathan Gannon, please take him. Kevin O'Connell, Aaron Glenn, Dougie P, Luke Getzey, Brian Callahan. For the head coaching.
I think I'd like to see either Bieniemy or Kellen Moore get a chance there.
Yeah, me too.
As long as they keep Drew Lock and finally unlock his hidden talents. Hashtag
So
Drew Lock is coming into his coming into his own.
The trademark of Isaac. Jaguars head coaching position, Lapston Urban Meyer. We have Todd Bowles, Jim Caldwell, Matt Eberflus. Someone please freaking take him. Nathaniel Hackett, Byron Leftwich, Kellen Moore, Doug Peterson, Dan Quinn, Bill O'Brien, and Darrell Bevel.
Those are all good choices except for those last couple of ones.
Why would you? So you hire Urban Meyer, have that crazy crap happen, and then you try to get Bill O'Brien?
That is terrible.
Like,
I like to see. I'm kind of biased here, but I like to see either Byron Leftwich or Todd Bowles get a chance to be a head coach.
Yeah.
But maybe not for an in-state rival. I know Tampa and Jacksonville don't really have any rivalry, but any Florida team being successful that isn't from Tampa concerns me.
Now on to the Dolphins head coach because they're dumb. We have Brian Dable, Mike McDaniel, Dan Quinn, Vance Joseph, Kellen Moore, Leslie Frazier, and Thomas Brown.
It would be funny if they got one of the Bills coordinators because that rivalry is already really funny. And I would just heat the flames for it too.
Right.
I'd like to see either Frazier or Dabble go there.
Yeah. For the Texans head coach, we have Brian Flores, Hines Ward.
Yes.
Randomly. Joe Lombardi and Jonathan Gannon. Someone please take Jonathan Gannon from us.
I heard, I think from Rappaport that Gannon might be the guy going forward for the Texans.
They really don't want Deshaun Watson, do they?
I also heard that Matt Eberflus might be a finalist for the Jaguars head coach.
Please, both of them. Take both of those people and make me happy.
He's got a second interview set for Thursday, so they might be set on him. We still got more to go.
Yeah, we have the
We
Vikings head coaching position. We have Kevin O'Connell, Raheem Morris, Jonathan Gannon, Kellen Moore, D'Amico Ryans, Dan Quinn, Nathaniel Hackett, and Todd Bowles.
I like to see Raheem Morris get a second chance. He did well with the Bucks. Of course, they were, there was a lot of poor decisions made by the front office that
Yeah.
hampered us, but I think Raheem Morris did well, so I'd like to see him get a second chance.
Yeah. For the Vikings GM position, we have Monty Awesomeforth, Questio Delfo Mensa. I apologize if I keep messing that up.
Oh, you got it perfectly.
Sweet. Brandon Brown, Glenn Cook, Ryan Poles, Elliot Wolf, John Spytek, and Catherine Raish, who is the Eagles Vice President of Football Operations, and it'd be cool to see a female do that.
Has there ever been a female general manager in NFL history?
Not that I know of, but I could be wrong.
Because I know MLB, they finally broke that barrier last
Yeah,
season.
which is awesome. For the Giants head coach, I don't think they've interviewed anybody yet for their head coach.
Nobody wants to go to New York.
Yeah, nobody. That's a shit show. The Giants general manager position, we have Joe Schoen, Ryan Poles, Ryan Cowden, bunch of Ryans, Monty Awesomeforth, Adrian Wilson, Adam Peters, Rand Carthen, Quentin Harris, Joe Ortiz.
All right, interesting. Raiders head coach, they've interviewed Gerard Mayo, and for the general manager for the Raiders, they have re-interviewed de facto general manager Dave Ziegler.
Yeah. I'm hoping for their head coach that the Raiders keep Bisaccia, but
I think they will.
Yeah. One interesting thing about teams is since the NFL has expanded to a 14-team playoff 2 years ago, annoyingly, 21 teams have qualified for the playoffs. Of those 11 teams that haven't qualified, including the Giants, only one now hasn't made a coaching change, and that's the Panthers. So I don't. Why?
That is an interesting stat.
Do the Panthers just not want to win?
I think the Panthers are convinced that Matt Rule will turn it around, but
because we talked about this last week, where the Panthers made off-season or mid-season and off-season moves to win now, and it literally hasn't worked out.
They haven't done anything.
Nope.
Well, before we move on to the rest of sports, because there was plenty of stuff that happened elsewhere, we've got a couple things left from the NFL, and that is to make our official picks for divisional round weekend. We got 4 games. The final 8 teams are set, and let's kick things off with Saturday at 4:30. The red-hot Cincinnati Bengals travel to Tennessee to face one of the weakest number 1 seeds in NFL history that we've discussed. For just the second time ever, these two teams are going to be facing in the playoffs. It's the Bengals and the Titans. Who's winning it?
So knowing me, I'm not going to get cocky and confident about this take. But give me Joe Shiesty and the Bengals, because the Bengals are coming off a big win, a very good win, and the Titans have had a week off, so they might be a little rusty, and the Bengals might take advantage of that early on, and it just might be too much to come back from too early on. But I could also see this being, close game. So
yeah.
I don't know.
I'm gonna go with the Bengals here. I think that Tennessee is the Titans really haven't shown me, they haven't shown me much in the ways of how I don't see how they're gonna stop Burrow and Chase.
Yeah, they're not a convincing number 1 at all.
I know that Derrick Henry just cleared full contact practices and he's ready to return, but unless
how much is that going to make a difference?
Yeah, will that make a difference? I don't think it will. This Titans team, again, I've talked about it. They don't feel like a number 1 seed. They feel like a team. They felt like an extremely average team this season.
Yeah,
that
absolutely.
Just happens to have won 12 games. So I think the Bengals are. I think this is a Bengals victory.
Yeah.
Moving on to Saturday night, the other number 1 seed. This is going to be interesting. 8:15. We've got the surprise of the playoffs, the San Francisco 49ers traveling to the frozen tundra of Lambeau Field to face the Green Bay Packers. For I think the 9th time in NFL history, these two teams have faced in the postseason.
Crazy.
And and I should note, every time these two teams play in the postseason, crazy. Almost all their games are amazing.
Another thing actually about that, every single time the Cowboys and Niners have played, the winner has gone on to win the Super Bowl. So
oh yeah, they have.
Yeah, and so for my pick this week, this year has been pretty consistent with past history of winning and losing. I mean, the Dolphins beat the Patriots in Miami. The Jaguars murdered the Colts in Jacksonville. I'm gonna stick with this, with the history going, because the game last week on Sunday looked totally different before Jimmy G threw that interception. So I think he'll protect the ball more. He does have a couple injuries. He has a sprained shoulder, and something else. I forget what it was. So that might be, a little bit of harm. But I think history continues, and I think the Niners are going to win.
I think this game is going to be a lot closer than pretty much everyone expects it to be. I think that what we're going to see in this one is the Green Bay Packers doing what they've done much of the season, which is play great football, but also play down to their competition. I think that San Francisco can expose the flaws in the Packers, and they can keep the game close. They have a chance to shock the world, and I would be very, very appreciative of the 49ers. I will say I think the Packers are going to win, but I think San Francisco is going to make this way closer than expected.
Mm-hmm.
And who knows? Maybe the Niners shock the world again. I know they shocked me when they beat the Cowboys.
Yeah, I mean, give me Niners this week, by like not even much at all. I think it's gonna be really, really close.
And I think it'll be another notch to the failure of the post Super Bowl 45 Green Bay Packers.
Yeah, I think so too. I mean, it'll be interesting.
Moving on to Sunday at 3 p.m. The Rams take on the Bucs in the divisional round. As a Tampa fan, I have to say I'm nervous about this one. This is the kind of game that the Rams are one of the few teams that were able to beat us this season in the regular season, and when they played us, they throttled us. It wasn't even close. Los Angeles looks good. They look really good.
They do.
And they're peaking at just the right time. And Tampa is going to be Tampa. But with the injuries that we've sustained this season to our secondary, and with the injuries that we sustained in the last game to our offensive line, Los Angeles is going to find a way to capitalize on that. Yeah. This is going to be playoff revenge time for Sean McVay and the Rams, because the last time they played Tom Brady, look what happened.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I'm going to pick my Bucs, but I wouldn't be surprised if this is where our title defense ends, because this Rams team scares me.
Yeah. I mean, the Rams, like you said, are heating up at the right time. So it'll be probably a really, really close game. But I'm still gonna pick the Bucs. I'm never gonna rule out Tom Brady. Ever.
Now, one last game, 6:30, Bills Chiefs, AFC Championship game rematch from last season.
Mm-hmm.
This one, I think, is. What do you think, Kylie? Who's going to take this one?
I think this one's not going to be as close as everybody thinks it is. Because both teams are coming off huge wins. The Bills especially are on like a high right now with beating New England by such a big margin too. So I think the Bills might keep that energy and go back to the AFC Championship game. It sucks that it's not the AFC Championship game, because I want to see Bills Chiefs again, but give me the Bills in the divisional round.
I'm kind of biased. I mean, you can
Of
see
course.
from what I'm wearing that I kind of am biased. I've grown up in a house that roots for the Chiefs. I have to go with the Chiefs, but it's going
Of
to
course.
be frighteningly close. I think
Yeah.
that this game is going to come down to the wire. And this will settle. Both these two teams. They played each other twice in the last year. We had the AFC Championship game of last year. Then we had this year's early Sunday night match that ended with the Buffalo blowout.
Mm-hmm.
It's tied. The series is tied 1-1. Allen versus Mahomes.
Yeah.
I think Buffalo is the more talented team, but I think that Kansas City gets it done by a field goal. Last second field goal.
Yeah. I mean, never count out Patty Mahomes, but I really think
Yeah.
this is not going to be as close as everybody thinks it is. I'm going to go with Bills Mafia, but we'll see.
Yeah.
It's exciting.
Well, that's enough football. I think we've talked about football for quite a bit. Are there
Quite
any
a
other
bit.
sporting leagues that exists outside of football? Oh yeah, there
Yeah,
are.
we got some
NH
stuff in the NHL to talk about.
So Kylie, remember last week when we talked about Evander Kane getting
Yes.
cut from the Sharks for violating COVID protocols?
Yeah.
Well, guess what organization is deciding to give him a 10th chance?
10th chance.
Uh,
Who?
the Edmonton Oilers,
Oh my
of
god.
course.
Of
Edmonton
course.
has expressed interest in signing Evander Kane, and I can't say this is something that this is unexpected. Edmonton is kind of one of if any franchise was going to try and make a move, it was going to be Edmonton.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a Ken Holland run team. That's the kind of move Ken Holland would make.
Mm-hmm.
So I guess we're gonna have to deal with Evander Kane more. Grown.
We'll see what happens with him. Maybe the 10th chance is a charm. We'll see.
And looking at right now, it looks like Evander Kane is looking to head towards a settlement with the Sharks over that lawsuit. So while that side of the story is going to get fixed, is clearing up. Yeah, the other side of the story we still have to wait.
Yeah.
Let's see what else we got here. The Red Wings have hired Nicholas Lidstrom as their new vice president of hockey operations, which now means that most of the Red Wings dynasty team are serving in the front office. Maybe
that's
this
awesome.
What is needed to lift them out of their slump? Maybe,
but we've seen how that works in other teams, other sports. The legacy players and stuff getting involved, and I mean,
these guys know how to win. I mean,
that's true, but they weren't the front office; they were the players.
Yeah,
different kind of thing. So I mean, maybe I don't know. Hopefully it works out, but from past teams doing this kind of thing, hasn't really worked out that much, if I remember.
sometimes it does, but
sometimes, yeah. I hope this is one of those times, obviously, but I'm not gonna say it's gonna be, oh my god, they're gonna be great. I'm gonna wait and see it out before I get my hopes up for them. Detroit deserves winners again.
That is true. It's hockey. Call it Hockey Town. It should be.
Exactly.
It's Hockey Town. Dang it. What do we got next?
So we have the Islanders' Ross Johnston being suspended 3 games without pay for an illegal check to the head on my guy AJ Greer of the Devils in that game. And as a Devils fan, that was a big hit and it was a pretty bad hit. So hopefully he doesn't do it again because my guy was hurt. And I don't like that.
I mean, it's not even gonna really affect the Islanders that much. Johnston
not at all.
Johnston has had, played 9 games this season for them and has only had 2 assists. So
yeah, no loss for them.
It's just kind of a minor thing to note. So the Florida Panthers are in the news for a couple of reasons. Well, the first is that they won 4 straight, but they actually just ended that streak. They unfortunately, the Panthers lost to Calgary 5-1. Actually, just last night. But they still are in a way the best team, one of the best teams in the East right now. They're actually
Yeah.
now just one game behind the Lightning for first place in the Atlantic Division, which, woo, go Lightning. Ow. Just, I just punched myself in the side of the head. That's fun. Go Lightning. It's good to see those boys doing what they do best. We have a dynasty to create. We have a dynasty to forge. We're going to get it. But that's not the main reason
Repeat.
we want to talk about the Panthers. Yes, the repeat is coming. It is coming. You can write that down. That's not the main reason I want to talk about the Panthers. I want to apologize on behalf of all native Floridians everywhere for what we're about to talk about.
Yeah,
Kylie, do you know who Kodak Black is?
of course.
Yeah. Did you know he was at a Panthers game earlier this week?
I did. They posted on social media that he was there.
Yeah. You know what he was doing at a Panthers game?
I know they deleted the post of him being there, so I assume he did something crazy.
Yeah. Let's just say Kodak Black was taking in the entire experience of attending a sporting event in Florida, which is, if an opportunity arises to get a sportsgasm, you're gonna take that opportunity. Yeah. Um, somebody needs to remind him that
He's in the public eye.
Oh yeah, and those luxury boxes, like those aren't private. We
You
can still see
see
it.
through
It's
them.
like
Yeah.
it's literally the second coming of the Toronto Blue Jays hotel couple. That it's
Yep.
yeah.
For those who don't know, Kodak Black was caught with a female in the suites doing adult things.
Doing the do.
Yeah.
On
So
behalf of Florida men everywhere, I would like to say to Kodak Black, woohoo! Yeah, way to
made it.
represent us. Way to represent Florida, man. You've done such a great job.
No, Isaac,
Bro.
our native Florida man.
Another reason why I'm never going back. Couple more things to discuss about NHL. A lot of them to do with everybody's favorite topic, COVID.
Yay! Keep talking about it.
Kylie, what you got for us?
So the NHL will no longer test asymptomatic players, following and staff following the All-Star break. If the if the positives keep going down around the league. And this is kind of weird because the only reason the tests are going down is because everybody's testing positive. So of course the tests are going to go down. But we'll see what happens. This is kind of getting closer to normalcy or whatever.
New normal. Well,
Yeah,
I hate that
guess.
term. But
yeah, me too.
New normal.
But the testing will only be for cross-border travel, which is required for Canada, and if symptoms arise.
Right.
So
I think that's for the best. Considering how many games have been canceled because of the Omicron surge so far this season, it's definitely for the best.
Absolutely.
One last thing to note about hockey before we switch sports is that last night the Bruins retired the number of Willie O'Ree. O'Ree was the first Black player in NHL history. I actually did not know about this until they announced the retirement, but that's good for him to see. He was part of the Bruins during the 50s and 60s. Let me just pull up what I had on him. So he played with the Bruins he played 2 games for the Bruins in 1958 and played a full season with the Bruins in 1961 while also splitting time with the whole Ottawa Canadiens of the Eastern Professional Hockey League. He spent much of his career in the minor leagues, but he did make history of being the first Black player in NHL history. And he actually was pretty solid with the Bruins. 4 goals, 10 assists in 43 games. Good for him. Good to see that.
Pretty fitting for MLK weekend.
Yes. Yeah, very fitting. All right. That's enough to do with hockey. Let's move on to some shooty hoops and go to the world of basketball, where the trade deadline approaches. Dun, dun, dun.
And the favorite topic of trade deadline is Ben Simmons. He is in everybody's mock trades for everything, every situation. But as the native Sixers fan for this podcast, the reports are coming out that Daryl Morey actually might be waiting for the offseason to do a sign and trade for James Harden because he turned down a big contract from the Nets. And obviously Ben Simmons doesn't want to play for the Sixers, but the Sixers have the total control. So, they might, they're probably going to wait for the offseason and trade him to Brooklyn for James Harden, which would be crazy.
I don't know how I would feel about James Harden on the Sixers.
I would love it. Please have Ben.
I think I'd like that, but I don't think I'd like Ben Simmons on the Nets because
that makes the Nets better with his defense and his playmaking. So it's
yeah,
a
but
win-win.
But how many massive personalities are now going to be stuck on the Nets? Think about it.
3 still. It's just
yeah, true. There's
switching. Yeah, it's just switching strong personalities, and it's a win-win because you have Brooklyn who gets Ben Simmons' elite playmaking and elite defense, and you don't have to play him at the end of the games necessarily, unless you need the defense. So you got that, and you have the Sixers who have an elite 3-point scorer. So that puts Embiid at center, obviously. That limit he doesn't have to take as many threes. Although I know he wants to, but that trade is something I want to see happen. I want James Harden. And I think I thank God for Embiid's patience and understanding and just rallying for this team. He's kind of seeing this as a nothing year, and then next year is when we're expected to make some serious moves. So
I think that's well said.
Yeah, so, I'd like to see it.
Some other trades that have been some other trade deadline news. The Bull trade was voided. He was going to be sent from Denver to Detroit, but failed his physical.
Only to be sent to the Celtics.
Yeah.
The
Blazers. The Blazers are looking to get Jeremy Grant from the Pistons. Yes, Pistons.
Mm-hmm.
But the big trade news, of course, the Hawks have traded Cam Reddish to the Knicks for a deal that includes a protected 2022 first-round pick via Charlotte. The Knicks also will acquire Solomon Hill and a 2025 second-round pick via Brooklyn in the trade, which probably takes Ben Simmons out of the Atlanta possibilities.
Yeah.
Your thoughts on this one, Kylie?
Sucks because I want Ben Simmons gone. Yeah. But as I just said, with that trade, it's fine. So it's an interesting trade. I know Reddish wanted more playing time, and what better place to play than the Garden? So it's good for him for sure. It'll be interesting to see how it plays out for the rest of them in Solomon Hill.
I think that's all of our trade news to talk about so far. We'll have more when trade deadline shows up because that's going to be rapid fire fun.
Yeah, I can't wait for that. It's going to be crazy.
Yeah, a couple more NBA notes. Let's go get into it. Rapid fire. Turmoil with the Wizards. KCP and Montrezl Harrell were fighting during the halftime of one of their games last week. Not looking good there for team morale. The Wizards, right, I believe, are on the fringe of the Eastern Conference playoffs. So
I don't know what happened in the beginning. They were so good.
Yeah, it just tends to happen. The Grizzlies' longest winning streak in franchise history of 11 straight came to an end against the Mavericks. Luka dropped his 40th career triple-double, which that's insane. He's already got 40.
I had to reread the article when I saw that.
Yeah, that's crazy. And shout out to the Grizzlies, man. There have been a couple teams that have really come out of nowhere this year to surprise me, and the Grizzlies are definitely one of them.
I can't wait to go to the game on Monday when they play the Sixers. It's going to be great.
That's going to be fun. That's going to be a lot of fun. Quick injury news. Zach LaVine suffered an injured left knee. There's no structural damage, so he'll be reevaluated early next week. That's good. God. Love some Zach LaVine. Steph Curry has downplayed the hand injury he sustained in a blowout against the Bulls. Hopefully it's not serious because the last couple of – but I don't think it'll be that impactful. The last couple of seasons, it's definitely felt like that the Warriors have lived and died by Steph Curry. But this year it feels like even if Curry has to miss time, they aren't completely doomed. And other injury news, Kevin Durant is out 4 to 6 weeks with a sprained MCL, which likely puts him out of the MVP race.
Give it to Embiid.
No, I think is Ja Morant's in the race, right? Ja Morant probably.
Yeah, but lower.
Would be my favorite. Yeah, lower. After this last stretch, he's gone on him. Hopefully Durant gets better. But
he'll be fine. Kevin Durant's insane. I'm happy he was having a good season before this. So speedy recovery, KD. You feel better, buddy?
Yeah. Last couple of tidbits of NBA news. The Cavs have given everyone in attendance free tickets to another game for braving the snow.
Love it.
Apparently, how many people actually went to that Cavs game?
I have no idea. That's a lot of tickets, and that's a lot of money, though. Probably not many people, actually, because it was snow.
Having been to Cleveland, the roads there are already in pretty bad shape. So
yeah, I've been to Cleveland, too. They're pretty bad.
So I don't, that combined with snow, I don't. If you're going to Cavs games, I know the Cavs are good this year, but if you're going to Cavs games in that weather with those road conditions, yeah, you deserve free tickets.
True
One
fan
last
right
tidbit
there.
from the NBA. True fans. One last tidbit from the NBA. NBA refs have ripped Dak Prescott for condoning violence against officials. After the Cowboys loss on Sunday, Dak Prescott basically said that, yeah, the fans throwing trash against at the refs, I'm completely fine with that. I have no
Yeah.
problems.
He
NBA
did
refs,
apologize, but
he did. That's something new. Should note. He did apologize, but that still didn't stop NBA refs from being like, "Bro, come on."
why are NBA refs getting involved with that? I mean, I get
I
they're
don't know.
still refs, but like, come on, dude.
I have no idea. All right. Enough with the NBA. We have one more sport to cover, or one semi-sport, since it's still in hiatus.
Half a sport.
Let's take a journey to limbo and visit the MLB. What's going on there?
So we have the Players Association meeting with the MLB for the first round of discussions. The discussion went pretty badly. The players left the meeting feeling underwhelmed, but the universal DH seems to be something that will happen and isn't a bargaining piece for either side. This seems to be a mutual want, which is great, especially for my Phillies who have a lot of players who can play DH but are kind of injury prone, so that's kind of good for us.
If universal DH is adopted, it will. It's a move that they need to get on. But at the same time, I will truly miss an era where you had to watch pitchers go out there to try and hit, because that is the funniest thing of in baseball is seeing somebody whose job it is to, never pick up a bat, have to pick up a bat.
Right. It's great.
That is hilarious.
It's gonna help a lot of teams. It's gonna be really crazy because a lot of teams who have that like for the Phillies, they have Gene Segura who is really clutch, in like bottom of the ninth situations for batting. But so for teams like that who have that clutch player, but if maybe they're not good at fielding, like as good at fielding in any position, that's going to be good. It gives other players who it's just great. It keeps because the pitcher hitting is kind of stupid, boring, unless it's like a pitcher you can actually hit. I like when pitchers hit home runs, but I mean, still, it's just dumb to have it, and it's gonna be good for the sport.
I tend to disagree. I think that watching pitchers hit is hilarious and actually keeps me invested in games. But you know what? If this is one of the moves we need to get baseball back, I'll take it.
Right.
Last couple of things for baseball. Report came out that Apple is looking to try and broadcast games. I don't know if that'll be successful or not. I will say that we already had a lot of baseball fans complaining on not being able to watch home games, especially out in San Francisco. Giants fans were complaining that most of their games were behind a paywall, which
really?
Yeah, they put Giants games behind a paywall last year.
Huh.
It was stupid. We have that.
Just be Phillies fans. I don't have any issues watching the games.
Yeah, there you go. Happy trails to John Lester, the pitcher who was part of the Cubs World Series success in 2016, has officially called it a career. His accolades: 5-time All-Star, 3-time World Series champion, NLCS MVP, National League wins leader, and pitched a no-hitter in 2008. I mean,
good career. Great career.
Good career. I hated him when he was on the Red Sox, but him being on the Cubs definitely, definitely softened my opinion on him. So,
of course.
Congratulations to a great career for John Lester, and hopefully a Hall of Fame nod in the future.
We'll see. The MLB Hall of Fame is crazy.
Oh, it is. We'll have to get into that on the next episode. Last little thing of baseball. The Dodgers have promoted Brandon Gomez to general manager. Let me pull that up. So Gomez previously was a pitcher for the Rays from 2011 to 2015 and worked with the Dodgers as the pitching coordinator performance part of their player development program, and was promoted to the director of player development in 2017, which he has held which he held until 2019 when he was promoted to vice president and assistant general manager. Now he's their new general manager. Hopefully, hopefully he can find a way to manage all of that high-end talent the Dodgers have. So,
I mean, when you have that roster who already won a World Series and, are great, I don't see why you shouldn't be able to manage that team.
Yeah.
So if you can't manage that team, you can't manage at all, honestly.
True.
I mean, baseball is one of those few sports that thinking off the top of my head, so this is zero research and credibility to it, but baseball is like a sport where it's not too difficult to manage, in the sense of like, if you have great players, they should be able to just like go and be successful. You should have a successful team. And if you have a dumpster fire, you can't manage. Having a dumpster fire, if that team turns into a dumpster fire, you are managing it terribly and you can't manage at all, obviously. And
well, this is general managing, so
right. Yeah. Even so, like if you can't, I don't know.
I think we've exhausted that topic.
Yeah.
Before we go, folks, of course, it's time for the best segment of the entire podcast, the Goobers of the Week Award. Can I get a drum roll, please? This week's Goobers of the Week, we've got 3 of them. Of course, 2 we've already talked about. Up first, the Cowboys. Once again, 11 straight years without an appearance in the NFC Championship game, for letting us all down once again, and for being the most undisciplined team in football that forgot the rules.
Not letting me down.
Yeah. Kodak Black for thinking he could get away with getting a sportsgasm in public. Come on, bro. And still and probably forever, Rob Manfred for being the worst commissioner in baseball history and the worst commissioner in all the big 4 sports.
Yep. Yeah. You're a goober, Rob Manfred.
All right.
To put lightly.
Straight goober. And for those wondering, we are planning to have a Goober of the Month and Goober of the Year competitions. We will be posting the polls on Twitter. You guys can go ahead and vote on who the biggest goober of each month is. We will decide the candidates based on just how ridiculous their screw up was, and you guys get to help us crown our Goober of the Month.
It's going to be between 3 or 4, depending.
Yeah. With that being said, Kylie, take us home.
Thank you guys so much for listening this week. This concludes the episode of the Sportsgasm podcast. If you like what you heard, tune in next week and maybe check out the support button on Anchor to help us grow and improve. That'd be awesome. You can watch this whole thing and more on YouTube when we post it. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, TikTok, and Instagram at Sportsgasm Pod. We'll be asking questions for future episodes and posting them on the socials. To kind of interact with y'all. See you guys next week. Thank you guys so much for listening.
Y'all take it easy. Have a good one.